Hello, my name is Terrence Harnett, and welcome to Project Militis Templi. Hello and welcome to the next installment of Project Militis Templi. My name is Terry, and today we're going to talk about the clothing that the Knights Templar would have wore. This is what they would have wore when they were out of their armor back in someplace safe. Later on, we'll do another episode about the other equipment they would have, like eating utensils and things like that. But today we're just going to focus on the clothing. So in order to do that, we're going to have to go down to the basement where all the stuff is. So here we are in the very bowels of Chateau d'Estoile, my basement. And I have here all the clothing that one would wear as a Knights Templar. So I am wearing my braise. In the 12th, 13th century, the braise were long, like this, about knee level. And as time progressed, for some reason, they got shorter and shorter and shorter. As you can see, these are white, or they can also be natural colored linen. And there are these ties that are part of them. See that just hang there, there's these ties. And that's gonna be for the next article of clothing that we put on. Just so you can see, before you put them on, they are pretty big looking. They look huge, but once you get them on, they kind of fit. They cinched up and everything, and they're actually very, very comfortable. So the next thing would be is the leggings that we put and tie onto these. There. So these are the leggings that tie onto the braise. They're actually pronounced shows. I know everybody calls them chausses because that's what it looks like that they're pronounced because it's spelled that way, but it's actually shows. It's one of those French words that have all those extra letters that you don't say. These shows are made out of wool. These shows are made out of wool, green wool, as you can see, but they can also be made out of linen. I wear the linen shows in the summertime, and I wear these winter shows when it's inclement weather, it's cold, like today in Michigan when it's always cold. So the next thing is that we're gonna put on is our shirt. So the shirt will be made out of linen, and it's gonna be either white or natural colored, just like the braise. So we're gonna put this on. As you can see, mine is a little long. It can go from anywhere from mid thigh down to about knee level, or a little bit past. And as I said, this is made out of linen, either bleached white or natural colored. Then after this will be your cloth coif or coif, if you want to do more of like a French accent. And this would just go on your head like this. What I'm wearing now, what I'm wearing now is known as your linens. Today we call it underwear. Back then it's known as your linens. So I had my linens on, okay? From this point, I would put on the habit, my monk robes, as you would call it. And we'll go over what this is. This is made out of, this one here basically is made out of linen. They can also be made out of wool. They're black, okay? The sergeants and the Knight brothers wore the same thing. They all wore the black habits, okay? Hang on a second. As you can see, it has a hood. So this is my habit. Okay. Couple things I want to point out. It doesn't have the stereotypical trumpeted sleeves like you would see in the monk clothes. These are fitted sleeves. As you can see, it goes about ankle high. okay, is on its length. There's gores in it so that it kind of goes out. There is no slit in this. As you can see, there is no cross on the habit. It's just a plain black tunic made out of either wool or linen. And this would be what the Templar would wear. You could put the hood on when you have to, for whatever reason. We will go over that in other episodes when you would wear a hood and your other stuff, okay? Next, I'm going to put a belt on. Now, I've had people ask me about these, and what I use, because the Templars weren't supposed to have any finery, they weren't supposed to have anything that would be considered, I guess what you would call nowadays as bling bling. So what I did is I made this type of belt that I seen that they wore back in that time period. And what it is, I'm going to come up here so you can see it, is it's a leather belt, and it's brown, but on one end it's got this, the two holes in it, if I can show you, see that? The two holes in it on one end, and then on the other end it has where I split it into two straps, okay? And then you put it on. People have been asking me to show you how you put this on. You want to put it around you, all right? And then you're going to put the two straps through the two holes. There's actually a couple ways of doing this, but this is the way I do it. So I'm going to put the two straps through the two holes, just like that, okay? Cinch it up to where I want it, okay? I hope you can see this, okay? So what I'm going to do is I take these two straps together, and then I put them around my finger, but I make sure that it's over the top. You don't want it to go like this over the bottom. Whoops. You won't want it to go on this over the bottom. You want this to go over the top, like so. So you're going to put it around over the top of it, all right? And then what you're going to do is while you're holding it in place, you're going to take this and you're going to tuck it into the loop that you just made, like that, okay? And then you're going to pull it taut. And that's how you would tie it. Of course, it's a little loose now because I couldn't do it correctly. I'll tie it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to tie it correctly so you could see. So I'm going to go like this. I'm going to put it over my finger. I'm going to put it over the top like that. Take this, tuck it, keeping these two together. Tuck it up in here like this, if I can get it. And then tightening it up. I put my thumb in here sometimes and I just pull it. So you got this knot here, like that. Hopefully you could see it. And that's how you tie this on, okay? Then you gotta adjust like the fabric or whatever, and there you go. So that way, it's a good poor Knights of Christ belt that doesn't have any finery or anything on it. If you do get a buckle, you want to just get a plain old, maybe D-style buckle, hopefully of period design. There are vendors out there that you can get period buckles, but you don't want anything that has any kind of decoration, animals or symbols or anything on it. You just want a regular old plain old buckle, okay? And then as far as an end piece, a chape or whatever it would be for the end of the belt, I would skip it. If you really, really, really want to be cool, because the Templars would get clothing donations. People would donate clothing to them, and what you could do is when you make a belt, is you could punch holes in it or put slits in it or put things in it where it looked like the jewels, the decor and stuff was removed from it. So they gave you a belt after you after they removed everything to give it to you, and then you're wearing it, so it would have holes and stuff in it. Another thing is having patches and repairs like in your shows and in your habit and stuff like that would be period. It would be what they would have had, because if it was donated to them or just through use and everything being repaired, there's a thing in the rule that talks about that if a brother, a Templar brother, complained about what he was given, like let's say that this was really natty looking, and I said, oh, it's too, you know, what they would do is they would take it back and give me the worst one to wear. So you never, ever, ever complain about anything that you were giving. Just so you know, you were given everything in the Templars. Nothing was yours. It was kind of like being in the modern military, that you go in there and you give everything that you have, and then they give you what you use and what you get. So you're getting their stuff. The next thing is a monastic. They call this a pillbox hat. It's made out of wool, fleece, wool, whatever. And then this would go on over. You could either, I guess, put it on over your coif or without the coif. There's pictures of both. Okay, so there you have it. And, of course, shoes. There's a couple things I want to point out with shoes. According to the rule, we always go back to the rule, Templars were not allowed to have shoes with shoelaces. That's what the rule says. So they're not allowed to have shoes with shoelaces. So my shoes here have, I'm going to show you, I'm going to walk up here again. My shoes have toggles. Can you see the toggles right here? And then these, when you put them on, these go around, and then the toggles fasten, okay? But you can't have laces. So I will put these on, and then we'll be back. Okay, so I have the shoes on, as you can see. I got the shoes from Viking Leathercraft. All of the shoes that I've had for years and years and years, I've gotten from Viking Leathercraft. I'm very, very, very happy with them. They look good. They're high quality. To me, they last long. They fit well, so I recommend them. But you have to do it for yourself and find out which ones you like. So the next thing is, it's a necessary evil in reenactment. As a Templar, you really wouldn't have one of these. You wouldn't, first of all, you wouldn't carry a money purse because you weren't allowed to have money. You were expressly forbidden to ever have your own money. So you wouldn't have money on you. The only reason why you would probably have money is if, let's say you were a person who was sent on an errand and they had to give you money to pay for something, supplies, whatever, to bring back or whatever, but you would not carry money. However, a necessary evil that we have in the reenactment world is a belt pouch. This is a belt pouch that I made. It's based on what's called a Berengaria pouch. It's from, I guess it's either a effigy, painting, stone statue, something that shows Berengaria, Richard of Lionheart, his wife, and she's wearing a similar type belt pouch. And a hint of advice for someone that's done this a while, put a little thing on it so that you can undo it. Like I put a little button on there, so you can actually put this on and take it off without taking your belt off. The same with your dagger, with your scabbard for your dagger. So what these are good for is carrying your wallet, your money, your keys, your phone, things like that. Make sure you shut your phone off, your ringer, because it's kind of embarrassing when you're trying to be historically accurate and all of a sudden your ringer goes off. Like I've never done that. Another accessory that you can have is this. This is called a Paternoster. It is the precursor to a rosary. There really isn't any documentation that says that the Templars actually had these, but there is documentation of people in that time period who have them. These are prayer beads that people would use. And it would seem logical that if a person was a monk, that they would also have these to pray on with. This one in particular was made by Brother Jim Rogerson. I will contact him and see if I can't put his contact information down in the description if you want one. Another thing is that when you were doing work wherever, and it was hot out, one thing that you can do is you could take your habit like this and tuck it through your belt like that to help you when you're doing your work. So you get some airflow there, and so that your habit doesn't get dirty. So like if, let's say if you're working, doing something or whatever, and your habit's not there, and then when you're done, you can pull it back down again, and it's not dirty or anything. So just a couple of things that is a little bit extra that you can do. So this is my Templar Knight Brother mantle, and this is how you tell in the Knights Templar the rank. Everybody wore this. It didn't matter what your rank was. This is what you wore. How you told your rank was by this. Okay, so we're going to put this on, and there's a significance that you really want one that has a tie on it. For us in the military orders, you want one that has a tie on it. So you just tie this up, and now I am in full monastic garb to portray a Templar Knight Brother. If you were a sergeant, you would wear exactly the same thing. The only difference is that your mantle, your cloak would be black with the same red cross, or it could be brown. Sergeants could wear black or brown. And this is basically it. This is what you need to portray a Templar. What I highly recommend from everybody who wants to try to accurately portray a Templar is this is the first outfit you want to get. It's more accessible, it's the cheapest thing to get, and you can worry about getting the other stuff later. We'll talk about the different armor and all the other stuff later when it gets warmer and we can go outside. So I suggest that people get your clothing first, your soft kit, get that first. Then from there you want your padded armor, your gamazin, or if you were in Palestine, you'd call it an akiton, your padded shows, your padded legs, and your padded coif. And then worry about getting your mail and all the other stuff. Because then it's going in more expensive, more expensive, more expensive. So one little thing, were the Templars armed when they were in their monastic clothing? Did they wear weapons? Normally when I'm in an event or something, or you know, when I'm doing my Templar recreation, I wear a dagger around camp on my belt because it does come in handy for cutting rope and things just around the camp. It's always nice to have it. It's like for the Middle Ages, it's a really, really, really nice tool to have, as a nice sharp dagger to do things with. But normally, I don't carry a weapon around in this unless you go out. You know, if you're in camp and you know you're in friendly territory, you're not going to go around armed. You know, but if you go out, chances are if you're going to leave the castle, you're going to leave the commandery, and you're going to go someplace, and if it's enemy territory, you're going to arm up anyway, because you're not going to go out like this and run into a bunch of Saracens. And you know, that's going to be it for today. I think the next one, what we're going to do is we're going to talk about your eating wear. Now that you know what to wear, you need some things so that when you go to an event, you look like a Templar, and now you want to eat like a Templar. So we're going to talk about the different things that you need to take to your feasts or your meals or things like that. So until then, I hope that this really helped you. It's very fun for me to do this stuff, and we'll see you next time. Day is full.